partners team meeting. So when you hear the word all partners, that's you. As you know, you're partners to us. It's all our partners meeting. We're doing it Wednesdays. There you go. Do it again, Dan. Whoop, whoop.
Everybody.
So we got to create our own energy in here. And people.
Did we lose David?
We lost David.
Lost David.
He's back.
Did you lose me?
We lost you.
We lost you for a second. You're good now.
Now you're good.
Okay, that was weird. Sorry. So obviously a lot of people are learning how they're doing the login, right? When it comes to, they got to sign their name in, basically. That's mandatory on the webinar format. Is that correct?
I believe so.
So, well, our goal here is to pour into this 1 hour meeting every week for you to get updates on what's going on in the market, what's going on in the market centers. Lisa's got things constantly changing. You know, we're talking about essential services. You may, a lot of y'all are friends with some agents in Denver, Colorado, just made real estate non-essential. Had a great conversation with agents a while ago, talking about, you know, maybe we should be talking about the fact that we do go non-essential. How do we adjust? We don't anticipate it. Lisa is obviously keeping up with all those people, and we got some great people on our team of JTs and Sues that are great consultants behind the scenes. So we'll keep up to speed on all those, and Lisa will probably update you on some stuff just to be careful of out there while we're doing it. So we definitely got a lot going on. We're going to continue to push through the month of April. You know, remember, as I sent a text a while back, the mind share you create today is the market share you get tomorrow. Jay, we can hear you, by the way. So the mind share you create today is the market share you get tomorrow. And so while these calls are going to spend a good part of it of updating of what the market looks like, I got a feeling these are going to run very efficient meetings, probably get done quicker than we think, just because of we're getting things done on here, and we're going to have our partners tell us what's going on in mortgage. And did you get a feedback from anybody from Movement to give us an update on anything going on the mortgage
Yes,
industry?
both Deb and Aaron are on here. Let me grab them really quick.
Not yet. Yeah, let's go ahead. So let's go ahead and get some of our affiliates on here. And I want them, we've already kind of talked to them, give us updates on what we need to know, what's going on in their field, how it affects us. I know a lot of people have heard about credit scores have changing. People have heard about qualifications are changing. We unfortunately had some transactions the other day that something was changed last minute. A VA loan got canceled like 2 days before closing. Wasn't that right, Jay? Isn't that right, Jay?
Yes, sir. Yeah, an agent out in Sierra Vista.
Yeah, awesome. So, all right, so let's go ahead and bring on our first one. Who do you want to go to first, Heather? Is going to give us an update on what's going on in their field.
Let's do Aaron. He's the first name on my list.
Aaron Leal, you going to make him a panelist?
Yes, I am. Okay, I think I just promoted him to panelist. There he goes. It's a little delayed, sorry.
Aaron,
you with us?
Can you guys hear me okay?
We can. You got a camera. We want to see your pretty face.
Yeah. So Deb, hey guys, can you guys hear me okay? Yeah. So actually Deb is going to fill you guys in on all the loan programs because she's been keeping up to speed with all of the changes. So she is really prepared with all the new information. And if you guys want to circle back to me to talk any like industry interest rates, things like that, I'd be more than happy to do that. Or if you want me to do that now.
Let me just add Deb really quick. There we go. Now we got both of them.
All right. So I'll just go until Deb gets on because I don't see her yet. But yeah, so as far as what's happening in the mortgage industry, it's been pretty volatile and it hasn't really been stable. And the end result is you guys are seeing that with, you know, last minute cancellations, last minute denials, some delays. And the main issue that we're experiencing in the mortgage industry and the reason why a lot of that is happening and with your transactions it's because of the issue of mortgage forbearance. So as you guys know, mortgage forbearance was passed with the legislation that Congress, made to law, a few weeks ago. And unfortunately, within that legislation, there really isn't a process in place for consumers to detail a financial hardship in order for them to get their mortgage in forbearance. And so what's happening with that is, if there's no process in place to prove that you're experiencing a financial hardship, there's going to be a lot of folks that, and we're already seeing it, that's taking advantage of mortgage forbearance, even if they can pay their mortgage, even if they have a savings, or even if they still have income, there isn't a process in place to prove that you're experiencing a financial hardship. So what's happening in the mortgage industry is, because of that, a lot of the mortgage servicers are factoring in that risk of, not needing to make a payment. And I don't mean to get too technical with you guys, but regardless if someone makes a payment or not, the mortgage servicer still has to make a payment to the investors. And so these pools of loans get sold on Wall Street as mortgage-backed security. And so investors are still getting paid. Servicers are still having to make payments on mortgage payments that have been missed. And so what we see with that added risk, we're seeing the riskier loans pretty much being eliminated, and for at least the time being, not being able to be offered as a financing option. So for instance, all the non-QM loans, like bank statement loans, investor loans, any type of loans that don't fit in the perfect little box, they're not being done right now. And so if you had a transaction that, had one of those non-QM loans, you're going to be negatively impacted by that. Now, as far as the jumbo market, that has tightened up as well. So you may experience some delays if you have a loan that's a jumbo loan above a 510, 400 loan amount. If you're above that loan amount, that's a jumbo loan. So you're going to experience some issues with that. And then, of course, the lower FICO clients. And we live in Tucson. So that's like, 40% of our business.
Yeah.
But those loans are going to be experiencing delays. Now, different lenders are approaching it differently. So I definitely advise you guys to get second opinions, especially if you're getting that, God forbid, last minute call that you're not going to be able, the financing isn't going to be able to be secured. Because some lenders are still taking lower FICO clients. I'll let Deb speak to that in more detail. But that's the biggest impact that I'm seeing, is the lower credit score. So what does that mean to all of us on the call is any manual underwrite. So in the mortgage world, we call a manual underwrite a loan that doesn't get an automated loan approval. Manual underwrite loans, for the time being, guys, they're not being done. So there's not an avenue for that. And so we need to focus, and one big takeaway for all you guys to take from this is, ask your lender when you get that pre-qual. One question that you can ask that's going to save a lot of heartache for all parties involved is, did you receive an automated approval on this pre-qualification?
Where were they, Aaron, where would they ask that? What do you mean? By the way, we lost your camera. I don't know if that was intentional or not intentional. So what does that mean to the agent, though? How does that apply to their, there you go. We like to see your pretty face. What does that mean to the agent, though? As we hear these terms all the time, what does that mean to them, and how they need to know when inside their business?
So when they get a pre-qualification, or when they get a client that the lender says, okay, you're pre-qualified, just the one question to ask when you get it, and it's not going to be on the pre-qualification form. There's not a box to check that's on there, but one question that you can ask your lender: did this loan get an automated approval? Just making note of that.
But you're just saying that's just good advice in general for an agent right now to ask that question if they're using you or anybody, really, is what you're saying.
Yeah, because if it didn't get an automated approval, I mean, it depends on the lender, because everyone's approaching, but there's pretty much no avenue for the manual underwrites right now. That may be temporary. It may only be, until the economy opens back up. But from all of my sources and everything that I follow, there's not a funding avenue for those, what we call manual underwrites.
Interesting.
There shouldn't be a pre-qual issued anyways for those right now, but again, every lender's, different. So we just don't know, how everyone's approaching it, but that's one good piece of advice that you guys can all take, because the automated approvals, even if it's a lower FICO score, the automated approvals, there's still avenues for those loans to get done.
All right, perfect. Deb, anything else to add before we move on?
That's pretty much, Aaron covered everything, but again, everything has tightened, and it tightened immediately. FICO scores of 640 or greater. Aaron just touched on the no manual underwrite. So if that loan flips for whatever reason during the process, let's say, for example, they had all of their own cash, but now they had to get a gift, that more than likely will flip it to a manual underwrite. So
and that can't be done, is what you're saying.
no, it cannot. So it's those type of things, and we stress it over and over again, Aaron and I, and it cannot be said enough by all parties involved. Do not change your financial picture during the course of this loan. So going in, if you say it's all gift funds, we have to run it through the decision engine that everything is gift funds, for example. If it's not, and then halfway through the process, they need $1,000 gift, yeah, that alone could throw it into a manual underwrite. The other thing that has come up, and Aaron and I have done this a lot for our customers in the past, because we have a lot that we put into credit repair instantly. We don't get to do a rescore on their credit. We have to do another hard pull on their credit. So maybe they did everything that they were told to do, but again, we have to do a hard pull on their credit as opposed to just doing the rescore that we were able to do in the past. So those are two things that have come up, and again, we always want to be your first resource. I think Aaron is going to be the hero on that VA loan. It looks like it's going to close on time, Aaron, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that should close on time.
Again, even those big online lenders that are supposedly known for doing good things for the veterans, I think we do a better job.
Got it.
That's a feather in our hat, and I'll continue to say we do a good job with all of our loans. So give us a try. Give us a try is what I'm saying. We're there for those rescue deals, but I think they'd go a little bit smoother if we started out with them.
All right, guys. Guys, thank you so much, Aaron, Deb, and main thing, guys, is we've got to get going earlier on with our clients, and we got to know more about them earlier, what their intentions are, and we got to coach and consult them to do these things. And this, I think, the mortgage side. Somebody asked me earlier, what's the biggest effect you're feeling on the real estate industry right now with what's going on? My answer was the impact on the mortgage industry more than anything else is what my answer was. I think we're actually doing pretty good, except for the credit scores changing. This didn't even know about the manual underwrite. You didn't even talk about jumbos are a challenge now too. Jumbos are, I don't even back doing them now. Are they doing jumbos again?
There are indeed outlets for the jumbos, but I know because I'm good friends with one who does nothing but jumbo loans, and she too is cannot keep up with the guideline changes. They are immediate.
Probably, yeah.
They are immediate, and needless to say, a lot of her customers are dentists. Their practices are shut down. Surgeons, their practices are shut down, and we need a verbal verification of employment on even those. So keep all of that in mind. It's not a given. So.
All right, perfect. All right,
Yeah,
thank you guys.
And David, real quick, the only thing I would add to that, because it will come up, is everything's cyclical. So the last time we went through something similar to this was in 2008, and the first loans that dried up were the subprime loans back in the day, and the jumbo loans. And so what does that mean? Jumbo loans are still getting done. It's just more risk is being factored in, like Deb was mentioning. And so, my best advice with that, especially if you're doing the high dollar properties and doing a loan that's going to be above that 510,000 amount, is definitely lean into your lender and work as a team with them, with the client, because that's the only way you're going to get it to the finish line, because guidelines are changing just like they did back in 2008. Guidelines are changing pretty much daily until things get back to normal. And the longer the economy stays closed, the longer it's going to take to get back to normal. And so that's one avenue to just keep an eye on. But other than that, David, we're optimistic with real estate. The fundamentals were there before COVID hit. And so once the economy opens back up, there is going to be a boom.
Yeah, I agree.
We believe. So it's going to be still good. It's just, what's the new normal going to look like? And it's to be determined right now. And that's with risk in the mortgage, which programs come back and which don't. I mean, we don't know that yet.
All right, perfect. All right, appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Who do you want to bring up next? Heather Chumbler, if you don't mind, why don't you just give us a quick update? I don't think your industry is affected too much on home warranty with COVID. You got her on there? You're muted, Heather. You good, Heather? You're muted, Heather.
Okay, how about now?
All right, who are we going to next?
Hey.
There we go. Heather
Hi.
Chumbler.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, well, yes, you're right.
Heather, get rid of the PowerPoint, Heather, if you don't mind.
Get rid of the PowerPoint.
Not you, the other one. Other Heather. There you go. Go ahead. There you go.
Okay, everybody can hear me? Good?
You're good.
Thank you so much. So, okay, so right now, what I'm trying to do is help the agents have talking points with their clients. So for those of you who do utilize 210, know that I'm about to send out my claims paid information email, and that's very specific to every address so that it says, you know, this is the amount of money that we paid per claim for service for this address. It's just a touch point to be able to reach back out, check in with your clients. So watch for that email. I can only provide that email if, of course, you have the conversation about 210 and include in the transaction. So I'm going to be sending that out here within the next couple of days. In 2019, our claim amount for air conditioning was $4,210. So as I'm gearing up for summertime right now, we are having a lot of conference calls with our service providers and also adding on to our network. So far, business as usual on our side, very thankful for that. As we really dive into the summertime, we're gonna see how this COVID has affected our manufacturers for parts and equipment. But as of right now, we're being told business as usual. And also wanna remind you all that this plan that I offer, as long as your clients or friends or anybody that you are wanting to make a connection with, if they are interested in appliance coverage, heating, air conditioning, you know, everything that my plan offers, just know that I can offer this. It's a 30-day wait for anybody who is not in a real estate transaction. So that's another talking point. Please know that we've got that there. And I'm thankful, I'm grateful right now. I've been doing a lot of videos for real estate agents to be able to send out to their clients too. So if that's any way that I can help you, I'm here for you any way possible. Thank you very much for your time today and letting me speak today. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So your business is right now, if anybody has any questions, you're not seeing major effects in COVID-19 shutdown when it comes to home warranty. Y'all are kind of business as usual.
Business as usual, but we will see how things go when people start turning on their air conditioning units next month. But you know, if that's one bit of information that I could really share, please ask your clients to turn on their air conditioning right now. Just see if it's working, functioning right now, because next month, about the middle of next month, is when we all get hit at the same time. So that's another touch point, talking point. Turn on their systems, make sure they're running efficiently right now.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Catalina, what's going on in the title? Kathy and/or Colleen?
We should have Kathy on here.
Okay, I don't see that I'm on.
There you go. We see your name.
Okay, I'm not sure what, let me start my video. Sorry about that.
Yeah, your settings should have changed. We made you a panelist. There you go.
So good,
Hey, you know what I love about this? Here's my best thing I love about COVID-19. Here's the number one thing I've seen so many inside of everybody's houses.
Yes, for sure. I love it too. I love to look at people's backgrounds.
All right, Kathy.
So it's good to be with you guys this morning. Really, you know, I was thinking about what with the way we're doing business has changed. You know, most of my employees are working from home, but they're all still able to work together. Our underwriters are able to answer questions. Really nothing has changed as far as the title end of things. There's really no reason we can't get a transaction closed, signed and recorded. Clients are calling me to ask questions still. Working on easements with someone today who's one of the buyers. So really everything is kind of the same as usual. In fact, our orders continue to stay pretty strong. I mean, you know, people are out there buying houses. People are doing listings. We're getting calls for listing kits. We're getting new contracts. So I think things are pretty good as far as that goes. People are still wanting to buy houses and list their homes.
Is there anything
We did have a
Go ahead, Kathy. I was going to ask you, I just want to make sure, is there anything they need to know, they need to pay attention to specifically in this market at the moment, what we're in, as title is, we can't do it without it, and y'all are the ones that record it. I mean, you finish the deal for us. So what do they need to know specific to title?
The situation that has come up for us so far was that somebody who was selling their home, trustee in a trust, was in a hospital with COVID-19, and so could not sign the documents, could not sign a power of attorney, so no one could get in to take care of that. What we ended up doing, our underwriters looked at that as an incapacity, and as long as we got a note from the doctor saying that they really couldn't be around anyone, then we dealt with it as an incapacity, and then a new trustee, a successor trustee, was able to sign the documents.
Very good.
Just say, keep that in mind. You know, if you know your parties are going to do a power of attorney, get it done now. If you know that, you know, someone is sick, just get everything in place as quickly as possible and let us know. Thank you.
Perfect. Awesome. Anybody has any questions, they know how to reach out to you or Colleen, and y'all are still doing business as usual, just maybe done a little bit differently. So, all right. So Heather, we're going to bring up our transaction coordinators, Gail and Jill, and all I really want to know, they're doing a lot of transactions. I just want to hear some things that they're seeing that the agents need to know they can do better. Are they on?
I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead, Jill. What can you share with, just give us a minute tip for us on what, because you're seeing a lot of transactions. I appreciate your feedback over the weekend, by the way. I love hearing that.
Absolutely.
What are you seeing, and how can you help the agents with what they need to look out for?
Make very strong offers, because once listings go under, are added into MLS, they're going as fast as they're coming on. So we made an offer yesterday on a house sight unseen, and before the client actually went to go and look at the house, and they came back and said they have 4 other offers already, and it had just gone on the market. So that's the one thing that I have been seeing. So just make sure that the contracts are strong and everything is correct when you submit an offer.
Okay. Anything else? That really about it then? Is because what I'm hearing then is that the listings are still, I mean, the people that are out there, like when you get showings, what I'm hearing is that when you have showings, those are real buyers and they're putting offers in quickly is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. And so they're going really fast, and I just opened up 3 new escrows this morning. So things are still happening.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And Gail, is there anything to add to that? I see you on there. We'd love to see your pretty face too. Gail, what are you seeing?
Oh, you guys are looking at my sewing machine. Sorry about that. I can't switch the camera over, but I'm seeing typical stuff too, just like Jill. We're staying pretty busy. I have seen quite a bit cancellations, like about 4 days before closing, unfortunately, due to a lot of people losing their jobs. So I don't know if you need to talk to your seller or even your buyer to be prepared for something like that. It is happening. Not a big deal, you know, it is still busy. There are still listings coming on every day. We're still opening escrows. I was actually super surprised last week at how busy everybody was. I was not expecting it, but it's business as usual, it seems.
Yeah, except with homeschooling and right.
Yeah.
and Zoom, that's for sure. So, okay, good. Well, I appreciate you gals, and I just want y'all got a grasp on it and what's going on in the market and what you're seeing, and especially from a transactional side. So, all right, so let's go ahead.
Well, that's one more thing, if I can add to that too, like to add to Gail's, is yes, stay on top of getting those LSUs, because I've only had 2 or 3 cancellations due to clients losing their jobs, but just stay on top of getting those LSUs and making sure that they're still moving smoothly.
Got it. All right. And by the way, if she's switching back to the PowerPoint, I didn't introduce this well enough. The very beginning is on the side. Some of y'all already noticed. This is a format we're going to do for the team meetings each week. We're going to see how it works. We like it so far. You have the chat box. You're on listen only and view only mode until we bring somebody into what's called a panelist. And when you do talk, like Kathy Fowler, there's a question in there you may want to look at. Aaron Leal, thank you. You're already attending some of those chats in there. And so keep that chat going. Keep it going over there and get the conversation going with different questions. And as people come on, they'll be going on. And when we have in a minute, we got a special guest, Steve Schlueter, who some of y'all have taken bowls from in the past going through. So let's go to birthdays. We got lots of birthdays in April. Click. Are you clicking? You're muted. There we go. So we got some birthdays coming up. Today we have Ryan Neihart. I think you say it. As I called him earlier, didn't get him. I'm going to wish him a happy birthday. And so we have some other people on here. Lots of birthdays in April. Already passed, Amanda Clark. Chase Delperdang, I think he's on here. I think they were going to get on here. Jesse, Scott, Ed, Jay, Mr. J, you had a birthday coming, just passed up, right? Whoop. Is that your sexy look? Go to the next page. Look at all these birthdays.
Roll Tide.
That was unnecessary. That was a foul. The next slide. So we got, and this is the birthdays for the rest of the month. Guys, we're going to make sure these are published and people can see them. They can say a big happy birthday to them going through. And I think Pete Peterson had a birthday that passed, or was that in March? Heather, was that in March? Anybody know? You're muted again. All right, so Lisa, go ahead. You got the floor.
Okay, did you want to make any announcements before I talk?
So, and I'm going to send a letter out, guys. I've been on so many Zoom meetings. I'm going to get an email out here in a little while. Is that we know we made some adjustments in our brokerage, and Lisa stepped in as the DB, and then Jody stepped into a managing broker role, and she was going through some searching and what she wanted to do, and she is in with our blessings and miss her. Jody has chosen she's going to go back in the agent field, and she's joining the Danny Roth team, and is excited about what she's doing. I got to tell you, she's over 2 years she's spent here. Were honestly impactful to our agents, our brokerage. What she did of getting some of our systems improved, our property management department working on those accounts, and just what she's done for us. So, we're excited about it. We've been talking to her a long time, and I think she just felt it's a good time for going to the agent field. So y'all make sure when you see her, she loves our Keller Williams family. She loves being a part of our family. And so it's honestly about as smooth as we can ever be. And the biggest blessing she's given us, honestly, is she brought Lisa in and handpicked Lisa to come in, and Lisa obviously moving into our DB role. That wasn't the intention at the beginning, and it just works out. And I'm very grateful for Jody for doing that. So when you see her, talk to her. She's not going anywhere. She's alive and well, and we know we have her as a family member, and anything else we need for her. So give her some love, and we're very, very grateful for what she's done and served. Absolutely love broker, one of the most loved designated brokers we've ever had. So Jody, thank you very much. We love you, and obviously not going anywhere. So thank you. Lisa, you got the floor.
Okay. First of all, I wanted to thank Jody for all that she's done. She's one of my dearest friends, and obviously I wouldn't be at KW if she hadn't brought me over. And I apologize about my voice. I had cervical spine surgery a week ago, and they cut through my throat, so I can't talk very well. But I'll do my very best. So what we've done now is, since we don't have Jody available, please give her the space to get back into her business and be courteous about that. She would still love to talk to you all, but more on a agent-to-agent level. Don't burden her, please, with questions. call the broker hotline at 520-612-1122, or you can call me or Nancy, any of us. The other thing is there's lots of resources available to help you right now. I know you're all struggling and going through a lot with COVID and working at home and things like that. And all of our local associations, our state associations, and our national associations have resources in place to help you out. One of the best ones I found is aaronline.com. They have a COVID-19 section, and it is broken into 3 sections. The first section is based on association type documents, such as Governor Ducey's advisories on stay at home, safety first guidelines for showing properties, the AR addendum regarding COVID and coronavirus. The second section is NAR guidance. It has a toll-free number that you can call. I'm going to give you that number. It's 1-800-874-6500. And
Say that again.
I'm sorry.
Say that number again. I'll put it in the chat.
It's 1-800-874-6500.
And that is what?
They have all kinds of information. That's NAR's toll-free helpline for realtors, and they are offering all kinds of information on there. They're also offering 2 free months of telehealth consultations, which may be something that agents need to take advantage of right now. The third portion of that of their website is based on state and federal resources. It's got all of Governor Ducey's executive orders, questions on aid packages, which I know we've got a Zoom about tomorrow, and other questions that may be related to state and federal guidelines. So make sure you take advantage of those resources. The other thing we're doing personally is we're ramping up our broker training. We've noticed that we've missed the boats in some area on training, and we're trying to remedy that. So we're going to have a broker training every Monday and Friday from 11 to 12 on Zoom for now, and we'll probably continue that even after we're allowed to go back up. And sorry, I've got somebody knocking on my door right now. Also,
the world we live in now.
No one has knocked on my door for days, and right now I have someone knocking on my door. Also, remember to keep in close contact with all parties in your transaction, that your communication with them may be vital in keeping your deal together. They may share something with you that they haven't shared with their lender yet. All of those things are so important right now. And if you have any feeling at all that your deal is starting to fall apart, call one of the brokers immediately. We may have ways to help you get through it. We may have some dialogue or some workarounds that can help you keep your deal together. If you wait till the last day, it's usually too late for us to help at that point. So just keep us in mind. Don't hesitate to reach out to us, and we'll make sure that, that we take care of you if we can.
Great. Number one thing I hear from Lisa is if she would have gotten involved a little bit sooner, it would have taken less time, and she probably could have held it together. And that's from Lisa and Nancy, and I've heard that from Jody. So they did a great job. Just got to get in touch earlier. All right, Jay, share some stuff that you had for us from our shift Monday mindset with James Shaw. You just had a couple things you wanted to share really quick, right, Jay?
Yeah, absolutely. I hope everybody's having a great day. James really did a great job of sharing some shift tactic knowledge, and really was echoing what Gary had said earlier on Monday during the National Growth Seminar. So he said really 3 main points. Number one, it's time to double down on your lead gen time. All right. He referenced page 80 of the shift book. So if you have the shift book, look at page 80. It describes what your day should look like, which is 3 hours of lead gen in the morning when you have your highest energy, and then also an hour in the afternoon. Okay. Some of you guys are especially newer in the real estate world. That's a good benchmark for you to use. 3 hours in the morning when you have high energy, hour in the afternoon to tie up all the loose ends and get everything going. He also mentioned, he referenced John Maxwell's 3 C's. We should be using the 3 C's right now, which is care, compassion, and common sense, right? We want to make sure that all of our clients, everyone that's in our database, we want them to know that we care about them. We want to show them compassion, and we want to use common sense and allow our clients to understand that as well, right? Now's not the time to go rogue and do things that you know are not smart, especially those that we know are in a compromised immune system or anything like that. Let's help them make sense of things. And then lastly, real quick, we were talking the last couple of days during our ramp up time, which by the way, 8 a.m. every morning is ramp up time. It's a way to make sure that you're up, dressed, combed your hair, brush your teeth, and get ready to do business instead of lounging and letting the day get away. So be a part of that. But we've been discussing this. Here's your script for every person in your database, every person you know. And it's real tricky. It's going to be hard to memorize. How are you? How is your family? And is there anything that I can do for you? Those are the 3 questions. I'm telling you right now, if you will ask those 3 questions to everyone in your database, you will be building a pipeline of mind share that will turn into market share at the end. Biggest piece of the puzzle, when you say, is there anything that I can do for you? Be ready to act, because if you act, you're cementing that relationship forever. All right? That's my advice to you. I hope you guys are doing well, and we love you guys.
Jay, thank you. Great job. I love it. That was very summed up real well for Monday's Mindset Monday with James Shaw. All right, MCAs, give us a quick tip. Then we're going to do our tech tip, and then we're going to go to our special guest.
It's me, David. Sorry, I was trying to get unmuted. So we just wanted to cover how agents are getting paid currently, to make sure that if you've missed previous meetings, or you're trying to figure out maybe you haven't had a closing since this started and you've got one coming up, we just want to put your mind at rest that we are taking care of you and getting you your money as quickly as possible. So all the checks are being delivered to the KLP office on the east side, and Heather and myself and our assistant MCAs, Tiffany and Cheyenne, we're processing checks every afternoon. Brokers are reviewing the files for compliance as they usually do, and any approved checks are released the following day after we receive them in the office. So you should have your check. If you close today and we get the check today, you should have your check by the following day, tomorrow at 3 p.m. Watch the dot loop file status. We'll set that to closed when we have placed the check in your file, and that's for both agents at KLP and the JV office. Sierra Vista checks are processed as usual. No changes there. Oro Valley checks are being delivered by the staff to and then the agents are being notified as those are delivered and available to you. We're processing referral checks and BPOs as usual and letting agents know when those are ready. The same with property management. The really big thing that you will want to watch for, I believe this is going to come out via text, is a link for direct deposit form. We are moving to direct deposit ACH, and that is actually going to take place probably by the end of April, 1st of May, when we will start making direct deposits for your checks. So actually following the timeline that we're on right now, the timeline won't change. The money should be available to you in the same time as it is a check, except you don't have to come to the office and pick it up. So we are working diligently to get that done with our bank system, and we'll keep you posted. We'll be sending a text out for a direct deposit form. If you're interested in doing that, you just complete that form and email it back to Heather or to myself, and we'll get that set up for you.
There you go. And guys, any questions? Obviously, the chat box on the side is working really well and doing it. So I want to go straight to, and let's go ahead and bring our guest right now, Heather. And so good friend of mine, probably, is he, whether he likes it or not, he's my lifetime coach. Even if I don't pay him, he's got to coach me forever. I will always call him with advice. And go ahead and move over to Pivot. There you go. And so, guys, I'm going to bring on Steve Schlueter. Steve Schlueter, a lot of you guys know him on here. We've got about 100 people on this call. I know I looked down the list. He's done Bold here and twice. He was my coach when I was in San Antonio. He's my coach here. He coached me as a Bold coach. And honestly, guys, he's been a huge impact in my life. So I couldn't think of anybody else to come in here and talk about Bold Pivot. We're going to be launching Bold Pivot in May 5th coming up this next month. Our market centers are going to be fully engaged in Bold Pivot. So Steve's not going to just talk about Bold Pivot. I'm sure he's going to give us some advice to help us in this market. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand over the mic. Steve, take over. Guys, welcome Steve Schlueter.
Hey, thanks, David. Sure appreciate the opportunity to be on with Tucson. You guys, with time changes, y'all always confuse me. I never know what time it is in Tucson. So here we are today.
2 hours different.
Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is. So coming to you from San Antonio in the Bold Pivot headquarters. David, if you wouldn't mind giving me the screen share, that would be great. If whoever's controlling the slides.
Heather, if you don't mind doing that.
Yeah. And I want to share something with you in just a moment as we get started. In fact, I did this morning, I did a Bold Pivot introduction for the Woodlands, Texas Market Center. And there was a couple who was there who was on the Zoom meeting. And she made an interesting, powerful comment. She said, I didn't know till right now, her and her husband had just joined Keller Williams about 6 months ago. And she said, I just realized that she said, Keller Williams is everything we never knew we needed. And I'm going, wow, what a powerful statement. Because you don't know what you don't know, right? We don't know what we don't know. And so many of us have not been through a shifting market before. We've had 10 years of a powerful marketplace. And, here we stand today. Many of you never experienced a shift. This would be my fourth. David, I know you've been through a couple.
Yeah, my second. Yeah, your fourth one. Wow.
Yeah. Well, the first one was a declining market where prices in Austin, Texas were dropping 1.5% a month. And you know what? Every shifting market that we've gone through, I've come out stronger. My peers who have come out stronger, our market centers have come out stronger. And so when we think about everything we knew we needed, that's what we're building Bold Pivot to be. Mm-hmm. And I want to take you through a conversation today that I had with the Woodlands office, and I'm going to share this on my screen. Let me put this up. Let me find this real quick, David. And so is everybody seeing a couple of triangles here?
Yep, you're good, Steve.
Perfect. So I want to share with you a conversation that I had with the Woodlands, because see, the Woodlands is not only experiencing the same things you are, COVID-19, shut down, locked in. They also, right down the road from them, happens to be the headquarters for ExxonMobil. Yeah. And so what are they dealing with? They're dealing also with $30 a barrel oil, was down to 20 something a barrel oil. And what's that doing for their marketplace? And so I want to share with you something we call the dreaded drama triangle, often referred to as the victim's triangle, and then the empowerment dynamic. And I think right now, the first thing we have to do is get our mind right, get our thinking right. And when we think about the dreaded drama triangle, there's this thing called a persecutor. It consists of a persecutor, a victim, and a rescuer. And now, by the way, when we hang out in the dreaded drama triangle, we tend to get caught up in anxiety and we focus on our problems. And by the way, there's a bold law that says what you focus on does what, David?
Expands.
That expands. And so when you think about the persecutor, what is the persecutor right now? Well, it's COVID-19. It's if you're in Houston, it's $30 a barrel oil. It's the government shutdown of commerce. I mean, all these things are persecutors, and what can happen is we feel out of control and we get into drama. We watch too much news on TV and we become victim. We feel like, it's being done to me. And if we're not careful, we get around people that become rescuers and they just say, well, it's okay. It's the way it is. And yeah, they're all doing it to us. And they reinforce our victim position. And we just stay caught in the drama. We stay caught up in anxiety. We get focused on problems and they expand. Now, let's talk about the empowerment dynamic. And the empowerment dynamic has a challenger. And the empowered person becomes a creator, and they have a coach that's taking them on the journey to being passion-based and outcome-focused. And so what is the challenger right now? Well, the challenger is COVID-19. If you're in Houston, it's $30 a barrel oil. It's the government's shut down. And, commerce is shut down. Those are the challengers. And yet when we say, hey, I'm going to be the victor, not the victim, I'm going to get into mode of creator. I'm going to start looking at what are my options right now? What is it I can control? I can't control everything. There are some things that are out of my control, and yet I am going to learn to do things differently. And then, of course, I got a coach by my side. I've got, resources by my side that are helping me stay focused on being on the creator and doing what I can and can control. So I share this with you today, guys, because we really have a choice to make. And having been through 3 shifted markets, this my 4th, some of them very significant shifts, I know what happens on the other side. I know we come out stronger. And we're at this time right now where Gary told us in the shift book, he said, the first thing you got to do is you got to survive. You got to remargin your business, is you got to get your expenses right. And then there's a point where you're not going to make it just cutting expenses. We've got to get back focused on revenue.
Yeah,
and this is where Bold Pivot comes in, ladies and gentlemen.
Because you can't save your way to prosperity.
What's that now?
You can't save your way to prosperity.
You can't save your way to prosperity. And this is where today it's time for us to now start focusing on, the relationships, the, service and, and then sales, right? Coming from contribution. And so when we think about Bold Pivot, have we shared anything about the structure of Pivot yet?
This is our initial launch right here.
This is it.
Yeah.
All right. So Bold Pivot, we're launching May 5th. Now it's going to be a digitally presented program, live stream, and it's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You guys are on Pacific time right now, David, right?
And so 11 to 1.
11 to 1 your time. So it's 11 to 1 Arizona time, and that's Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now, by the way, the question always comes up, are these going to be recorded? The answer is yes, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. Now, on Wednesdays and Fridays, we have what we call Coach's Corner. So it's optional. If you want to come in on Wednesdays and Friday in the same time slot, you're going to have access to Bold coaches to ask questions, to dive deeper on what was covered in those previous sessions. And of course, we know some of you are homeschooling and maybe you can't do all that. And you got kids at home. That's okay. All the sessions are going to be recorded. And I'm going to tell you about how you access them in just a minute. Now, on the second week, that's Red Day. And I know we're going to find a way to do a digital Red Day, right, David?
Exactly. Yeah.
We're
already thinking about it. I know we're already, because we got confirmation, so everybody knows that Red Day is still going to happen. Whether we're allowed to do it outdoors or not, we're still doing Red Day somehow.
Somehow that's going to happen. And so that particular week, the second week, we'll have the classroom on Friday. We will not have a coach's corner that Friday, as we will having the classroom. So we'll be Tuesday, Friday that week, and just Wednesday on Coach's Corner. And you'll see this on the schedule. I'll tell you how to access in a minute. Now, when we think about how you're going to really take full advantage of this, let's talk about what Bold Pivot focuses on. It is absolutely focused on the market of the moment. I've been working with John Prescott and the course writers over the last few days, and we've been nailing down the content. And it's focused on the just right for right now conversations that we're having with the people in our database, just like I believe Jay spoke to a few minutes ago. And it's the tactics that are right for right now in social media and text and how we engage with our database. It's now looking at how you start using these technology tools that you have available at a very tactical level that's going to put you right at that top of mind place with your database. Now, Jay and David, here's the interesting thing. Could we be in the same situation that we're in right now in May while we're having Bold Pivot?
Absolutely. We don't know.
We don't know. And yet here's the interesting focus of Bold Pivot. It's going to focus on finding you right now business, and you might be having digital listing appointments and digital buyer consultations. And one of the most valuable things that you'll be able to do right now is you're going to create a bucket of nurtures to cultivate. Yeah. And there's going to be this pent up demand of people you've identified that are going to want to do something in the third and fourth quarter. And the seeds of that are planted right now. In fact, David, everybody that gets signed up for Bold Pivot today, I'm going to send y'all a YouTube playlist that you can send to whoever signs up today, where we are already going to give them a bunch of scripts that they can start working with right now. For example, David, did y'all have a strong seller's market there for a few years, maybe multiple offers?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's still, believe it or not, still leaning. The houses on the market are still disappearing. We just got through talking about that a while ago.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people aren't bringing housings into the market right now. And we'll probably ultimately lean into a balanced or maybe even a little bit of a buyer's market, depending on how this plays out and how long it plays out. And yet think about this. How many of you in the last 5 years sold a house to somebody that was a compromise house. It wasn't their forever home, and yet they bought that home because they just moved to town. They had to have a house, and they bought that house. Maybe they'd gone through 3 or 4 others they didn't get. So what's the forever home conversation? And they're going to open the conversations just like Jay talked about. What's the refinance conversation? What is the trusted advisor conversation? And so, David, when they sign up today, I'm going to send you a playlist, and you can send it out to whoever signs up today, okay?
Fantastic. I love it. Yeah, you told me about that earlier.
Yeah.
But really quick, and a lot of them heard, and it sounds like it's a sales pitch and all that, and they were about, just go ahead and tell them, this is really a gift from Gary again. How much does it cost for Bold Pivot?
$99. $99.
This is another one, guys, of Gary. He was insistent that this is something that is affordable. He's subsidizing it. Just like with the $21 million he's given to people who sign up for MAPS coaching, they get 2 months for free of April and May. And if you were already in MAPS coaching, he is doing everything he can, because the one thing we can't cut the coaching aspect. And we talk about that most important thing in our right now, we're all fighting, is every single person is fighting some type of mindset challenge. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
I don't care.
And here's the interesting thing. One of the things that we deal with in Bold Pivot is there are some of us who are wired like myself, who calling your database and having those calls was kind of weird for me, because I'm not a high social person. And the lady that sat beside me when I started my real estate career, she was one of these real effervescent people, right, David? And she said, Steve, if you really want to have a lot of success in this business, just be friends with all your clients. And of course, I'm a high assertive. My response in my head was, I got 4 friends. I don't need any more friends. I need buyers and sellers. And yet I took what she said to heart, and I ultimately realized that she was right. And yet that wasn't authentic for me. What I learned later is I could be their trusted advisor. And I said, that's a person I can be. So we're going to teach you all these powerful conversations that are just right for right now. And it doesn't matter what your behavioral style, there's a right conversation for you. And there's a way to do this that's going to add value to people and build those relationships like Jay talked about, where there's trust, there's a common bond, where they think of you, they ask you, they listen to what you say, because you built that emotional bank account with them when it mattered most right now. So David, what I would say, I did put in the chat box the link for you guys that would like to access and get enrolled, so we can get you started. There is also, when you go to the registration page, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see the frequently asked questions you might have. Here's the last thing I want to say, David, and I want to share the screen one more time. And that is, let's see if I can find it here. Goodness, where'd it go? Hang on. I hate it when that happens.
I love that graphic you showed.
You think you got everything just queued up, and that's like, okay, where'd that go? The last piece is this, and I don't have it queued up right here, so I'm not going to share, is the Facebook page. So what'll happen for all of you that are enrolled, you will be able to access the recordings of each session, because you've got kids at home and maybe you're homeschooling and that time just doesn't work. The recordings will be accessible on a private members only Facebook group. We've also going ahead and starting to curate some of the content, scripts, videos, all of that right now into that Facebook community. And once you get registered, you'll get an invitation in a day or two following, so you can start accessing the resources. We want you to be able to go there early, go there often, and make sure you're able to take advantage of everything we're here to provide y'all with. We're not waiting till May 5th to start giving you tools. We're putting that onto the Facebook community right now and getting you guys communicating and working together. So David, what did I not cover that's important?
I think you covered it well. We'll continue to do our follow-up. And, guys, we're talking about doing something that we can sign it on, maybe on a Monday, doing something as a market center, who everybody's in Bold Pivot and masterminding on what our market's doing. And just, we're committing May. One thing I will say about May, though, April, we're uncertain what's going to happen in May. I think by May, we'll all feel like we're on our way out of this somewhere. And by that time, we'll know more about where medicine is at, where our lockdown is at. And, by that time, if we're still considered essential, we'll stay essential. So I'm excited. May is going to be all in, guys, to revamp this. We're going to pivot, go all in for the month of May as a market center. My goal is to have 200 of our 50% of our market center in Bold Pivot. That is my desire. I think it'll completely change the market. Guys, right now there's a couple things you hear about Gary saying in shifts. It's time to take territory. We've heard that. And it's also time to take market share. Nobody is going to be working as hard as we are. And yes, we're going to be taking care of our family. We're coming from contribution. May's going to be that time to build it back up. So, Steve, I think you covered it well. We're going to continue to launch it. And I appreciate you being a part of our meeting today.
Hey, thanks, Tucson. Y'all take care. Be safe.
Yeah. All right. So, Jesse, can you do it looks like you got a pretty abbreviated tech tip today. Jesse, you want to jump on it really quick? Are you available? Heather, is he available?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
There you go, Jesse. What do you got? Looks like you got a pretty simple one today, so that's good.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple one. So one thing that we've been covering a lot of COVID, that specific virus, but I want to address something else, computer viruses. We want to make sure that you're well protected with doing everything online that we're doing today. So some tips, make sure that you're using a private browser just so you can reduce the amount of information that's being tracked for yourself. Use an anti-malware software and an antivirus software at the same time to keep you safe from any kind of brute force attacks to your computer and keep your professional and private information private. You also want to make sure that you're using the HTTPS prefix in your URLs for when you're browsing the websites. That makes sure that you have a secure connection with that website and it's not compromised in any way. Make sure that you're not using the same password for every single website. I know a lot of us right now have the same password for everything that we do. So I'll tell you right now, stop doing that. Use a service like LastPass. Even Google Chrome has a similar feature where it generates a password for you specific to that website and it'll store it for you so you don't have to deal with that. Again, the other one was LastPass. I love it. It's free. Use it. And just keep yourself safe. Don't open up emails that look unfamiliar to you. Make sure that you're just using your systems properly. We're doing everything electronically. We have a lot of personal data that's being passed on through our emails and such. So just stay safe, just like you would. Kind of wash your hands, if you will, online. And yeah, guys, keep safe online. Keep your data safe.
Jesse, thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, let's go to our calendar and let's talk about our week. And everybody's been kind of seeing what we're doing every week. Lisa mentioned, and I do want you to listen here on kind of what our pattern is that Mondays and Fridays. So 11 to 12, guys, I know a lot of people, I even saw in the chat box, I don't get offended by it. People go, 11 to 12 is lead generation time. Guys, you get up and you do lead generation from 9 to 11. That's your 2 hours. Meeting from 11 to 12, what we found is the highest attendance of everything is basically from 11 to 12, to be honest with you. That's the highest attendance. It allows us to do your lead generation. When we start doing things in 12 on, attendance actually, especially your 1 hour slots, goes down. And you'll see our longer stuff for me in the afternoon. So our team meeting is every Wednesday at 11, KW All Partners meeting. Mondays and Fridays is broker classes, and then we're going to be doing lead generation type stuff. And this is just the month of April because the month of May, we're moving over to Bold. And then you'll see our tech on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then, of course, Aaron Wilson, I got on there a couple of times. I wish I was on there more. Midday check-in with a clinical psychologist, which I love. And every Monday, don't switch the slide yet, 4:30 every Thursday, we're doing happy hour on Zoom. That was fun. It was a small group last week. Turn your computer, open it up, coffee, grab a cocktail. We don't care. People were a little confused about the pet thing. It's not a pet thing. It's happy hour. And we were showing our pets. So every Thursday at 4:30 is happy hour. And then go ahead and flip the screen on every Monday. I'm doing what's called Mindset Mondays. And I'm interviewing a top agent around the country. This Monday, we have a guy named Haro Sishan coming on. He is in Greenville, South Carolina. Does about 60 million plus a year in production. Week after that, I got Rachel Adams Lee, who does about 60 million in production. And she's a great story. Haro's going to talk about how he focuses on prospecting for lead generation at a high level. Rachel's going to talk about social media at a high level and technology. She's really big on videos and posting videos. And man, I coached her for 5 years, and she'll get videos and post them, and bam, she'll have leads just pouring in. You'll be seeing that. So that's next Monday after this. So they're asking for, Colleen will address that in a minute. I don't know what that means right there. So I saw a question on there, how to register for Bold Pivot. And switch the slide again, and that is our all partners meeting is me every week at 11 a.m. And of course in May, it's gonna change in May only because of Bold Pivot. I mentioned her happy hour. Oh, they had a slide for me. Thank you. That's awesome. Last thing, go to my, there you go. Happy hour every Thursday at 4:30. Stay connected. Make sure everybody uses 1kwsa.com. That is where all of the links are for all the classes coming up. And I want to go to the last slide here, and not too bad on time. Guys, I know myself included, we all got a little funky with our schedules and doing it. And, you know, MREA, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Gary gave us this thing called the Millionaire Real Estate Agent Energy Plan. And maybe we can all probably do better at this and getting a little bit more committed. Oh, we lost it. To having an energy plan. And it basically, every morning get up, meditate and pray your spiritual energy. We all know exercise, different schedules, homeschooling. We had intentions to go bike riding this morning. We didn't because we were at homeschooling challenges. It's all good. We got to get up, hug, kiss, and laugh. Start planning out your day, and then lead generate. Lead generate every morning from 9 to 11. Take a break from 11 to 12, jump on one of our classes. That's why we have it. And then jump back and lead generate some more and find out what other classes you need to do that week. All right. So as Steve said, build your pipeline up, build that pipeline up. And we're going to get you to make sure you have the link, make sure it works. Colleen, thank you on registering for Bold Pivot. And we're going to talk about more. Bold Pivot it's very simple. Gary made it so easy to do it. He's subsidizing it basically when it comes to the technology and things. And I'm actually going to be running one of the coaches corners on Wednesdays and Fridays. And as a market center, we're going to talk about doing something as a market center on Mondays as kind of a rally for us just in the Tucson market center of market centers of everybody that's in Bold Pivot. All right. Any last words before we close out? Big Dan, you haven't talked much. You were running the chat, which I really appreciate. Anything to add before we finish, guys?
I'm good, guys. I just love to see more participation. Our morning blast off, guys. It's all about how you start your day. It's how the rest of it will transpire. So start the day with us. Get your head right. Get your motivation going, and get on with the day of awesomeness. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Good attendance. I think we peaked. We hit 100 at one point. I love that. And my goal is to have half our market center every week on these. This is where we're going to pour into you on these right here. And we're learning the format. We're learning how to pace ourselves. And we're learning how to use our technology. I think Heather did amazing running the PowerPoint and flipping it back. Honestly, for the first time, I think, Heather, you did a great job. Thank you. All right, we're out. We should have like some music now, right?